Folks, how you doing? It is Clay Francisco again with another book review, but with the actual physical book this time. Trying to get better about this stuff, but I don't think I will. We'll see. Yeah, Furies of Calderon, man. Jim Butcher. I decided to give this a read simply because a friend of mine told me it was fun. And I like Jim Butcher's, not his Harry Dresden. I like the oh my gosh, the windless one. Anyway, Sky Pirates. It's totally awesome. I'll throw a link down in the description when I finally get there. I really like Jim Butcher's actually writing style. I don't actually like the characters in the world of the Dresden Files, but I really, really love his writing style, and this proves it. The reason I actually read it is, one, off a recommendation of a friend, and two, because the recommendation came with the caveat or the extra info that it was apparently written on a challenge, because that's like his bag. That's what Jim Butcher does. And I guess he was, and I had to research this, I went and checked, there was some online forum or some sort of podcast or whatever he was doing, and they were talking about, content creation. It's like a big thing in the tattoo community, right? Like, there is no bad ideas for tattoos, just bad executions, right? The writing world is apparently the exact same way. There are no bad ideas, there's just bad executions, right? And so he decided to prove that there are no bad ideas by combining a lost Roman legion with Pokemon. No, seriously. That's what he did. And it's awesome. Like, literally to the point where the mountain in this is called Mount Gyarados. Gyarados. If you don't get that, then never mind. But if you do, yeah. It's pretty good. I mean, granted, okay, so it does the standard orphan boy in a farm boy town, all tiny and weak, right? Everybody's got abilities except for Tavi, right? Because Tavi's a loser, with all the potential in the universe, right? So that's kind of, it's a little bit tropey like that, right? But you don't notice the character relationships in this are awesomely deep. And I've actually gone through, and I'm on, I think, the third book of it right now, Academ's Fury, but that's a whole different thing. Cursor's Fury, Academ's Fury, something else. Anyway, I'll do reviews on those as well, but I wanted to break this up and kind of talk about this first book here because I love the way he gets this series started. I love Jim Butcher's style of just dumping you straight into a world and you just go for it, right? At first, you're a little confused because you're not sure what a fury even is. He doesn't explain it. It just happens and you just see what a fury is, From an author standpoint, I love his writing style. I love his descriptions of his bad guys, his monsters, the little baddies, the things you should be afraid of. Because he does this awesome thing that I from Tolkien, right, where he describes the feeling, of terror or whatever it is that it invokes in the person who's interacting with this thing. And then he describes physically whatever part is interacting with them, right? Like the iron feel of their skin, or like, the granite feel of their skin, or some kind of like, the slobbery whatever, feel of their breath, or the smell of their, like that kind of stuff, where he'll get in whatever's happening at that time, because they're in his face or in their face or whatever, and they'll do that physical description, and the rest is totally left up to your imagination. And so it's whatever your brain fills in the blank spaces for that makes you feel that way. And then it just gives you the, oh, but by the way, it was physically like this, but the whole rest of that emotional stuff he just leaves open and for you, and I love it. Tolkien did it really, really well, and I am super impressed with the way Jim Butcher does it, not just in this series, but just in general. I really like how he does that stylistically. I really like how he uses colloquialized, to the world, profanity, right? They use things like crows. They use the word crow and the idea of a crow, old crow, crows begotten, that kind of stuff. And a few others, right? The great furies, and they called them like the gods, great furies, this, that, and the other, right? And he doesn't use any profanity from our world, right? From the urban genre, from our urban fantasy. And so you never get pulled out of it, right? That's that one complaint I kind of had about Sarah J. Maas, right? And then even a little bit about her counterpart, Brent Weeks. That's not... Anyway, with, bust ass, haul ass, and shit kicking, and, weird little things where you're like, wait, but we say that because of our culture. And Mr. Butcher over here does not do that. He does a great job of keeping you sucked really tight into his world and into his mythos, and I love it. Like, I really do. As far as like the plot and the storyline and that kind of stuff goes, it is pretty standard. It's a little dude with no powers, who's an orphan, who starts out in the middle of nowhere, and the first thing that happens, as far as like it hitting the fan, is his uncle being attacked because he's just a sheep herder, right? And his flock of sheep being, sent out into the middle of nowhere. There's this culture of human-esque people called the Marat, which are very interesting, and I don't want to give any spoilers about it, but he hangs out with this Marat girl for, in the books. But in the first book, the Marat is an enemy, right? But yeah, I don't really know how to describe it. He does a really good job in the first book of making it obvious, even though they're the enemy, that it's just kind of this prejudiced historical enemy, that there's not any current conflicts, there's not anything that makes, there's no bad blood for real, right? And so Tavi really embodies that whole, like, wait, but why are they bad? And it plays out great when he meets the Marat, and yeah, it's a really good, and so I like their culture. I really like what they're doing about it. It is a little bit in like the noble savage sort of vein, but at the same time, it's still really good. I really like how he did it. And instead of like sticking to the like Pokemon, like grass type, whatever type kind of thing, he does that with the Alerans, is what they're called. They're the humans, right? And the Alerans have, furies that are attached to an element, right? Very much like grass types and wind and blah, blah, blah. But the Marat have actual familiars, which are much more like a Pokemon, except that it's just like a horse, or a bear, or a wolf, or whatever, right? And so that's kind of fun, where it's like he took the Pokemon idea and like split it in two, right? Where the elementals are elementals and the beasts are beasts, and they don't mix in between. And so it's really fun. Like, I really like the way he did his magic system, where he doesn't like really explain it too much, but excuse me. But at the same time, he really does a great job of creating mystery with it. I do feel a little bit like there could have been some of these problems solved with other people's magic because of how powerful people are, and like exponential, there's like these knights who are just like, pow, and I think we would have seen them earlier, but they start out so far in the country, like way out, so anyway. So there is a little bit of that possibly. If you really wanted to poke holes in this and like do some fact finding, you might be able to find a few more plot holes and some inconsistencies than I did, right? Because I'm willing a lot of times as a reader to just, if it's fun, if it's exciting, if I don't feel like I've left any loose ends behind and I feel like the story wrapped up really good, I'm usually really satisfied with it, even if there are a couple of like, wait a sec, couldn't they have? Yeah, so anyway, that's my review on it. I'm not a Harry Dresden fan, but I'm a Tavi fan. I like Jim Butcher. I like the stuff he does. So, I'd check it out. There's like 6 of these. And so I'm on like the 3rd one now, and I'll keep reviewing them. I'll keep letting you know how I like them. Yeah. Comment, like the video. Let me know what you guys want to hear. If you guys want to see different different book reviews and that kind of stuff, because I'm just going to keep doing what I do unless I hear otherwise. So, thanks for watching, folks. You guys have a good day. Bye.